And what we're now going through is a collective dark night of the soul experience where we are holding space for the awakening of humanity. And the first step of that awakening is disillusionment.
And there were times during these past few months where I had friends, reaching out to me, and it was almost like, you have to do this. They were saying,
and I had someone in my life who is like Matt. I know Kamala Harris is the second coming of the divine feminine form, but there is going to be a reckoning, and there are some things that are going to change our world very quickly.
But there's like an urgency in this moment that I rarely feel.
Hey everybody, our mission here at the Heart Coherence Collaborative is to get people in touch with the healing power of the heart.
And we really need your help. Right now, only 1% of viewers subscribe. We are aiming to take that number to 6%.
The reason why we want to do that is the more people that subscribe, the more people in the world can learn the magical practice of heart coherence.
So please, help us out. If you ever listened, if you love this message, please just take a moment to subscribe.
Thank you so much.
We love.
Welcome everybody to the Heart Coherence Collaborative. We're so excited. We have our good friends Matt and Joy Kahn with us today. We're so happy to have you back. Thank you for coming back.
Thanks for having us. It's an honor.
We're so excited to be here.
Yeah, Matt, Leah and I go way back. It feels like forever now. We've been interviewing Matt for a long time, and over the last, year, is it 2 years now that Joy came into Matt's life? And
absolutely,
we've gotten to hang out with both of them. We did an interview with them, and it's like, we need you every now and then to come on and just give us an update of what's going on, ask you so many great questions, and there's so much going on in the world. So we're really excited to dive in. Today, we've invited our community to submit questions. So we have questions that we're going to be asking, as well as questions from our community. So it's going to be a deep dive today.
Oh, we love deep dives. Let's dive deeply.
Both of your ears. I know you love deep dive.
Let's go. Hoo, hoo, hoo. All right.
Yes.
You ready to take it off?
Yeah. So first of all, I'd love to hear, the last time we interviewed you, I believe, was pre-marriage. It was like right before.
Yeah.
So update us on what's going on with you both and love and marriage. And what's changed?
I knew you were going to go there. I could have bet money that was.
That's what I want to know about is love and relationships.
Oh, I mean, if you really want to know,
I do.
So we got married. We got married. We did it. We got married. It was a beautiful, quaint ceremony in Las Vegas, and we love being married so much that we decided we should get remarried every few months. So a few weeks ago, we went to the Little White Chapel in Vegas, and we got married by Elvis. And what we decided is every couple months, we're going to get married differently. So like, we're just finding new places to get remarried. And so we got married by Elvis a couple weeks ago as we called it, the wedding remix is what we called it. And we just, we're having the greatest time being husband and wife. We love each other dearly, and we also, work together. And it's just a testament to the type of love that is always existing within all of our hearts individually, and what brings us together at the moment that type of expression is meant to happen. And, we both have such an incredible journey individually, spiritually speaking. And the journey that brought us together is just a testament to everything that we knew to be true, but it became even more real and tangible as we were brought together. And then, of course, to be able to share in this mission together as, two people that are so genuinely in love. And when I say genuinely in love, there is the passion of love, but we're equally so comfortable in our love. And so it's just a beautiful, comfortable dance of passion that allows us to really serve the divine will and to serve so many of you in even more incredible ways, and to give us the opportunity to get remarried every few months.
Yeah, I think it's because we have such a shared love, the things that we love in our life, while we have individual interests, our devotion to the work and has really been something that helps us remember to anchor into our own love every day and then the love for what we do.
Yeah.
And we have been working nonstop in between those
Nonstop.
weddings. So there's been a lot going on.
Yeah, because our business is basically we're two separate offerings and then we combined them. And so we've been working nonstop behind the scenes to bring things together. Like I said, we get married every couple months. I propose. We both propose every day. So you gotta work that in. And it's really just a labor of love. We are reimagining how we serve the world. And at a time in history when it could be so easily to see the world is going completely insane, it's an opportunity for us to step up and to create a path that helps you see things right side up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So let's dive in a little bit to the
Yeah.
energy of the world. So obviously,
Oh.
yeah, there's a little bit of movement, I would love to
Little
just hear
bit.
both of your perspectives on what's happening from a larger, broader mindset.
Oh, wow. Well, you did just want to jump right in.
Jump right in.
She warmed you up with all the lovey-dovey.
Yeah, we're so in love, and thank goodness.
Thank
No, there's so much going on in the world from so many different layers. And Matt and I've been talking about this, especially as we entered into November. There's the huge election in the United States, which I know is a focus even outside of our country. But there have been a lot of shifts and changes that I don't know everybody saw coming, but everybody felt coming. And so we're in this place where I think all of us are collectively feeling that while we might be repeating some cycles from the past, they aren't repeating with the same things. We're not going to have the same experiences. And so depending on where we are and how we're awakening, and what level of perspective we have, we're going to be experiencing this time very different. But the time we're in is a merging of timelines. So there's been a splitting of timelines and now a merging where people are coming into, at least that's how we're experiencing it, a coming together into one stream of focus for a series of events. And all of us who are on this call are in that merging timeline. And we're all merging towards that. And as we do that, there are a series of events that we can go into, but there are a series of events that are unfolding as a result. But mostly from that bigger picture, we're all finding our way to the timeline of experience that's going to awaken us and bring us to this next level of consciousness, which is one of the most important times that, of course, we're experiencing in our lifetimes, but one of the most important times in tens of thousands of years.
Absolutely. And what I would add to this is a couple things just to kind of open the conversation up. But we could talk about this at every level.
Yeah.
Every level you want to talk about it, we'll talk about it, from the, whatever fringe level to the highest divine level possible. So when we come out of an election like we just came out of, and we say this, that Joy and I are not political, we are spiritual, but it's a good context to reference. So there's something called, that some of us may or may not know, it's called the drama triangle. That when we are in unconsciousness or prior to coming into greater heart coherence, we maneuver between three aspects, 3 points of a triangle called the drama triangle. And we move through the archetype of either being the bully, victim, or the rescuer. And of course, it's either I'm moving from being the bully, victim, or the rescuer, or I'm perceiving others as either a bully, victim, or a rescuer. And it's called the drama triangle. And so when we become conscious, we move off of the drama triangle. Now, what's interesting within this election cycle is that part of the media power is to keep people on the drama triangle, even if they don't know that's what it is, because that's what keeps you looking at human created storylines as if it's late breaking news. And so basically what happened is people are coming out of a psychological fog where part of the world or part of the country is going to say, she was the rescuer, he is the bully. The other part of the people are going to say, no, he's the rescuer, she's the bully. And when we live in a world where we're all arguing of who's the bully and who's the rescuer, we all live as victims. So we're coming out of this psychological fog of everyone arguing who's the bully and who's the rescuer in this political play. I'm going to say very boldly that it actually doesn't matter who was put in the White House, that the same plans and the same agendas are going to unfold as long as those people and those plans are allowed to. So when you look at someone like Kamala Harris, you look at someone like Donald Trump, and the fact that I used to work very early in my life as a writer in professional wrestling, I can tell you, I can sniff this out 10 miles away. And both the good guy and the bad guy behind the scenes are having lunch, and it doesn't matter who is in the White. It doesn't matter. And but what happens is, just to now kind of move it in a more inspiring direction, is that what we're looking at right now, we're seeing it with P. Diddy and this whole thing that is exposing, and it feels like all of Hollywood is imploding with this revelation. The same thing is happening and will happen more with the whole political infrastructure. And so what we're realizing is, to move off the drama triangle, to no longer be victims, we have to get out of the conversation of who's the rescuer and who's the bully. We have to get out of division. We have to get out of competition. We have to come more into, as you would both say, heart coherence. And so what we're going to see occurring is a disillusionment, truths and revelations that is going to be, for some people in this world, maybe not all of us on this call, difficult to comprehend the fact that we've all thought we've lived in a certain reality, and we're gonna find out that it's not been the reality that we thought. And I say this for one giant invitation, because there's one very specific invitation that we and consciousness offers the world, and it's kind of a fork in the road. There are going to be people whose minds are going to be melted by, everything I thought about reality was never true, and what is true is a very big leap to take. The biggest fork in the road is people choosing either the timeline of the material world or the timeline of the new spiritual reality. And here's how it's going to go down, is that the question is, will people in their disillusionment, in their confusion, in their I sensed this or I had no idea, are they going to say, I'd rather focus on blaming the people that betrayed me and stay attached to the material world? Or are they going to turn towards spirit and say, I gave my power to authority figures into Hollywood, and it's all imploding to turn me back to the source within me? That's the invitation for all of us, is that as much as will be exposed over the next couple months, and as many things that, and it's hard to say what will play out because timelines move so quickly. And even when you say, like, we can tune in and tell you, because we do readings almost every day, here's the timeline that's actually looking like it's going to manifest. When you say it to a group of people, it expands the consciousness and awareness of everyone in the room, and that actually affects the timeline. So you could sound like you're giving inaccurate information and go, here's what's literally manifesting at this moment. We say it to you, it expands our consciousness, and then it has the opportunity to leap us beyond the need for that. And then you go, I thought you said that was going to happen. So time is very hard to work with. The higher we go in evolution, the more amorphous it is. But the bottom line is, the question everyone's heart is going to be asked: will you focus on who you blame for deceiving you, or will you turn towards the source of reliability within you? And if you can make that shift, it's not going to matter what actually happens in the next couple months and years, but there is going to be a reckoning, and there are some things that are going to change our world very quickly.
Yeah, we are in a big window right now.
Yeah.
We are at there. While there are some things that are ebbing and flowing, we're in an immediate window where that decision is more paramount than I think we've ever experienced. I think we've said something similar for many years in both of our teachings, but there's like an urgency in this moment that I rarely feel, where it really is no longer looking for the rescuer and no longer blaming the bully, and really finding your connection with source.
Right, because the people that are going to stay attached to the material world are going to, in fact, unintentionally be bullies to the bully, as if that's how you create justice. Or if I'm not a bully to the bully, I'm its victim.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to be a rescuer of the victims, which keeps you as the most heroic part of the drama triangle. And so instead, we don't bully the bullies, we don't victimize victims, obviously. And trying to rescue a bully is not what is being invited for us. What's being invited for us is to turn towards a reliable source of information and realize we've been so hypnotized to click on headlines and to be attracted to sensationalism and to be entertained by, I can't believe they said that. And we were all at a point in history, and we've all seen people whose lives have been turned upside down in Maui, in North Carolina, in Florida, even innocent people in Ukraine, in Russia, in Israel, in Gaza. This is about human beings coming together to support humanitarian efforts. And this is about watching a collapse of Rome that doesn't have to be the collapse of our civilization, but the collapse of the people that thought they could control it.
Great. One thing I just want to follow up with while we're on this subject is because I've seen a lot of this lately, and it dates back to kind of the Dolores Cannon to Earth theories. I don't know if you've ever heard about this, but one thing I'm seeing a lot of right now is people are basically saying, oh, because Trump won, I am in the right Earth. I'm on the, and then the other people are saying, oh, I'm on the wrong timeline. And so I would just love to hear your perspective on, are we shifting into multiple Earths? What's going on with that? Is that real? Is that imagined? And are we on the right Earth?
Well, we are in a multiple versions of Earth, but I wouldn't use Donald Trump as a baseline for that at all. I wouldn't make that our true north. And I say that with respect to everyone's soul, because we're all playing characters.
It's really interesting because you can look at it from the perspective of, when we look at the Mandela effect, which very much is how we've merged these timelines in the past, that some of us have the experience of Mandela dying in prison, and some of us have an experience of him becoming president and leading people out of this tumultuous time. And so it didn't matter which version from one human you were on, everybody merged into one, which is why we had multiple memories. It'll be the same for Trump or for, whatever circumstances. While there might be some division that's occurring in our experience, we all will end up coming together again. And so all of that's happening for everyone. We are a conscious, we're a group of conscious beings, and we are in this together. Whether or not we have these multiple timeline experiences that pull us apart for a time, there is something that brings us back. There is a unity of those timelines that continues to happen. And I think we see evidence of it in the quantum field and in the work that we do. I think all of us see evidence of the coming apart and multiple versions, but also the coming back together. And that brings me so much peace, especially as we look at the field and we do readings and we see the changes, that all these different timelines are impacting what happens on the main timeline that we all converge back to.
And what I really, and I love how you just put that, what I want to do, and I hope what I'm about to say brings a lot of people relief, and I sense it is about to. And that is, let's say there are two Earths. And I would argue that there are more than two Earths, but let's just say there are two Earths. And just to give an example before I kind of bring it back to the two Earths, this interview is living evidence of one thing. And that is, as we're all in this experience, and for our experience, it would be, we are in awareness, discovering what we did and what we said in order to create the interview that is already so. So we are in real time experiencing what we are saying and doing to create the interview that in the future has already gone out and touched people's lives. So if we take that idea, our lives are, what did I do and what did I say in order to become the most evolved version of me that I was already meant to become? Now, here's where it gets interesting. There are a lot of us that are worried about not being on the highest spiritual timeline because our unhealed unworthiness makes this about reward and punishment. I don't accept enough. I don't meditate enough. I don't do enough forgiveness. I don't, I wasn't, there was a fly in my food and I was very aggressive with it. I should have just let it eat part of my meal. And did I have to eat 5 breadsticks? Did I have to? We do all this nonsense with ourselves, and we all do it. Um, Let me also reframe in all of this the law of attraction. The law of attraction, as we will continue, just like the world's not what we think it is, the law of attraction is not what we think it is. I'll give you a different version of the law of attraction. The law of attraction says you attract what you love, or your reality becomes what you're attracted to. So whether you think you're the greatest spiritual being or the worst student in this class of ascension, the fact that you're attracted to growth, the fact that you're attracted to unity, the fact that you're attracted to compassion, the fact that you're attracted to the light means you could only be on the highest timeline. And whether you need to learn something 5 times versus 2 times versus 18 times, it doesn't matter. You're on the team, because the proof that you're on the highest timeline is you are attracted to the light. There are people in this world who are attracted to greed, who are attracted to hurting people, who are attracted to darkness, who are attracted to perversion, who are attracted to hurting people, that they literally gain energy from hurt. They're attracted to it. So people that you see when they judge people, they get this like false level of superiority. There's an attraction to it. Or people that tell mean-spirited jokes, and when someone said that hurt my feelings, they want to kind of giggle. They're attracted to some degree of darkness. So the people that are on the timeline that need a lot more time to enter the light are simply the people that have not developed, have not acquired a taste to be attracted for the light, because they're like, hey, before I enter the light, tell me what's in it for me. If someone asks what's in it for me before entering the light, they're not attracted to it yet. The people that say, where's God? I want to serve. I am the light, even if I don't feel it. You could be in your mind, the worst spiritual student in the universe. And the fact that you are attracted to the light, yearn to be close to source, is all you need to confirm that you're on the highest timeline, and nothing you do outside of that attraction takes you to a lesser reality. That's the law of attraction. And so people who are attracted to other things than the light are on a spiritual journey, learning to break up with their attraction to what's not good for them and develop an attraction for what's more meaningful. The problem is all of us are reading the same material. So beings who are already attracted to the light are doing the steps and the curriculum of people who are going to enter the light. And it makes light beings feel like, I got to get this right. I've got to perfect this. I got to stay in the highest timeline. That's not how it works.
Yeah, it's not that hard.
You're already attracted to the light, which means you're already in the highest timeline, but the highest timeline doesn't help you avoid pain, despair, and the very unraveling, because it's your awakening on this planet that is going to make it safe for others to awaken, and to allow those that are attracted to less than the light to learn to find the light within themselves. So that's good news.
Yeah.
Love it.
I would love to hear you talk about, there are so many people who seem, there's that term like Trump derangement syndrome, and I've definitely witnessed people in that. People in real life, and then online, you see people that they're having nervous breakdowns, like people are in an incredible amount of pain. And I heard someone saying the other day, anybody who, maybe this will like land wrong for people, but this feels right to me. The people that are so obsessed with politics have an extreme amount of breakdown in their own personal relationships, and an extreme amount of pain in their own life. And I've noticed that with a couple of people on both sides of the aisle in my world. So I'd love to hear you talk about what you think is going on and what's the cause of people being so obsessed and in pain about politics nowadays. And then how can people get out of it? Because there is a fact of life that if you're one of the people that's upset about who's elected, you're going to be living in that world. So yeah, both
Yes,
of those things I'd love to hear you guys talk about.
absolutely. It's a great question.
Yeah, I think I'll start with kind of what's happening, and then we'll go to the other side of that question of what do we do about it. And I think you're absolutely right. We see, this shifting. When Matt was talking about Hollywood collapsing, now we've got this political arena that's sort of the new Hollywood, and people are focused there. A lot of what happened here is that there was a breaking down of religious structure that occurred. So over time, there were people that were going away from religion because of certain things that weren't working within that structure, right? It had sort of this guru model in the spiritual world, but also in religion. There were a lot of people taking advantage of people, and, a lot of people, tuning into this understand some of the inherent challenges of religion in the past. As a result, a large number of people have moved away from God, from spirit, from source, from a belief or a connection to a higher energy or a field. They've moved away from it completely, and the mind doesn't function well when we don't have a connection to the divine. It actually creates a breakdown in the mind and begins to move people into mental destruction. It starts to break apart the faculties of the mind because it doesn't understand who's guiding it anymore. And so it looks for, as a way of surviving, it must find someone to lead them if there's no connection to the divine. And so then they put all of divinity's power into a group of people, an ideology, or a leader, one person, one country, whatever it is. They pick something that allows them to mentally stay intact so they can survive in their bodies, even if it's a survival that comes with absolute devastation and depression and unhappiness. At least they belong, and at least they know what they're living for, and it actually creates the best level of sanity that they can expect to feel without a connection to source. And so we really start to identify this epidemic of we have lost the connection to who we truly are, and we're witnessing that, which brings me such compassion for every individual on this earth who doesn't know who they are and that they're connected to the light and can be loved and nurtured and held by the light. That's at the core of all of this.
If you can see how deranged and the level of mental breakdown people are having because one person won and one person lost based on how a narrative has been shaped in the media. I'm not saying Donald Trump is not how he's framed, and I'm not saying he is. It's neither. It's if you can see the way people are responding on both sides, you're seeing, you can't even imagine the level of nervous breakdown people would have in meeting the light of their divinity.
Right.
So if this is the reaction people are having to human beings like Kamala Harris or Donald Trump or whoever it's going to be, whoever the new flavor of the month is, what do you think about Elon Musk? What do you think about this? Whatever it is, it really doesn't matter. Politics has become the new Hollywood, and alternative media has become the new legacy media. And it's just the same game reframed with different characters. And so if people are reacting this way to the way characters have been modeled through the media, they're not even in the ballpark of being ready to meet a divinity. When you are attracted to pointing fingers, to projecting all of your unhealed pain onto people who you've never met and that you've only seen on news headlines, and you've seen words on a screen and clips of someone walking to an office, and you think you know someone on any side, you're not prepared and ready to spend time with the light of divinity that requires you to be attracted to compassion, oneness, and the beauty of unconditional love, because a being who's not quite there yet would suffer in the presence of that divinity. And because the light of divinity vows to do no harm and doesn't want anyone to suffer, it knows how long of a journey every person needs to be able to handle, tolerate, and be attracted to spending that kind of time in the light. And so what we are seeing, and I say this so mercifully, is that we are seeing the deconstruction of a psychological program that most people don't know they've lived in, that they've inherited from generations that have lived in it for so many years. And it's the unraveling of a psychological program that starts to put the responsibility back in our hands and starts to help us realize that life can't always be what we want, how we want it to be, that everything is shaping us into the highest version we're meant to be for our service to divinity and as divinity. And so the times we spent moving through COVID was like an immune system boost for what we're now going through. And what we're now going through is a collective dark night of the soul experience where we are holding space for the awakening of humanity. And the first step of that awakening is disillusionment. And if it's disillusionment for people because Trump supposedly won, whatever winning means nowadays, or because this person, whatever it is, we're all in a state of collective disillusionment, which is just turning our awareness into a full monogamous relationship of being attracted to the light, which begins with, if I'm attracted to the light, if I'm attracted to oneness, peace on earth, that's level 1. That's great. Level 2, if I'm attracted to the light, what choices in my behavior personally am I attracted to, both in how I treat others and how I treat my body and what I put into my body? How is that helping me either build an attraction to the light or build an attraction away from the light? And that's the work at hand right now, is making our spiritual practice cultivating a monogamous relationship to build a direct attraction to the light that does no harm to us or other people as we hold space for other people that are finding their way home.
Yeah, I would add even, just thinking about what we can do about it. One of the things that I think is going to make this an easier time to move through for all of us is noticing any attachment we might have individually to any of those scenarios, into any of those pathways, whether it's Trump or Kamala or politics or not, to invite a seeing of that bigger picture just a little bit more every day, being willing to say, I'm willing to see beyond what I think is actually running this world, and recognize, bringing us more into our own sovereignty, or the ability to see from that perspective, and of course to be more connected to our own connection to the divine in whatever way that is. We're breaking a spell. And that's uncomfortable, and it's happening to everyone, no matter what we think we know and understand about this time. Nobody's immune to the breaking of this spell.
Right.
Yeah, I love this so much. And, I want to go back to what you said, Matt, about, whether it was Kamala or Trump, the agendas, you don't think it really is affecting the bigger picture. And, that is actually something that I felt deeply. And there were times during these past few months where I had friends, reaching out to me, and it was almost like, you have to do this. They were saying that to me. And it was tough. I'm not like somebody who's a debater of politics.
Right.
I'm just sitting there kind of very like, I have my own beliefs about this. But I would love it if there was some sort of transmission you could offer our collaborative based off of finding their way to this middle ground that is that divine sacred place where that's beyond these two sides.
Of course. Well, first thing we have to realize is whoever's in the office is a spokesperson for whoever's pulling strings. And even if you go beyond the level of elected officials. The people that carry out a lot of policy are all these unelected people who have just been in this field for so long. I mean, if it just, you know, everyone's going to find their own way to figuring that out when, you know, you go. I mean, I look at the history of my lifetime and the presidents who have been in office, right? When I was a kid, I think it was Reagan, and went all the way to present day, right? What really, like when you look at the difference between this person and that person, it's all a big narrative game. It's all really kind of a lot of the same shit, to be honest. And when you're debating people spiritually, you're basically just repeating the headlines that your preferred section of a news outlet puts out. So it's like your friend calls you and he's Captain MSNBC, and you know, in your CNN or whoever you are, whatever it is, it really, it's no different than when people were having the same debate of, are you for or against the vaccine during COVID times. It all puts us in a state of division. And what I will say to all of this is the most effective way to communicate with people who are in this place is, and I've had people call me hot on one thing or another, you know, and I had someone in my life who is like, Matt, I know Kamala Harris is the second coming of the divine feminine in form. And I said, that's what I said to me. And I said, you know what? I'm really happy that you found I'm really glad that you resonate with that you found what really speaks to your heart. And they said, well, do you agree with that? And I said, oh, this isn't about me. We are witnessing your passion.
Yeah.
I don't want to interrupt your passion. This is about you. I couldn't bear to interrupt this flow of passion. So I'd love just to hear more of what you love about this. Well, do you believe this? And I'm like, well, I think that would take the attention away from what you just discovered, and I'd rather focus on that. So I focus on loving what people resonate, loving that there's something people do resonate with, because if you resonate with something, anything, the universe can move that needle of resonance in the direction of alignment very easily. When you refuse to resonate and you check out from this world, that's a real state of purgatory. So once you start resonating, even if someone resonates with like for example, we're married and Joy has a daughter and now I'm a stepfather. And for a time we all lived together before she moved out with her partner. And there are a lot of things she's interested in that are kind of like darker arts. And she knew that, you know, her mom and I are spiritual teachers. And she's like, well, hope it doesn't bother you that I'm into some of this darker stuff and I'm totally not into whatever you do. And I said, I love that you're into the dark stuff. And I would love to sit here and hear all of the things that you love about it. And first of all, that blew her mind because she thought I was going to cringe, right? Like, oh, someone who's into something is going to, you know, be off-putting, but that wouldn't make me a true light being. That would make me a spiritual ego. And I'm smart enough to know that when I talk to someone about what they love about something, even if it's dark or even if it's misplaced, the fact that they love it is building a vibration of love that lets the universe just drift their attraction and allegiance in the direction of something more loving. And so when people are talking to me about what they resonate with, the hypnosis would be for me to hear the subject matter and for me to debate the subjectivity of their attraction and to try to say, you should be attracted to this viewpoint or you should see it this way. All I want to do is be a part of a conversation where people are talking about what they're attracted to. All I want people to do is be attracted to something, and the gravity of consciousness will move you in the direction of what your soul is meant to be attracted to. So when people talk to me about being passionate, just like someone came to my door the other day, wanting to preach the gospel of the Bible to me, I was so grateful. Thank you for coming to our house at 8 a.m. Thank you for knocking like I owe you money. Thank you for offering to read a Bible passage to me. And thank you for being so attracted to the Bible that the universe will have the easiest way moving the needle of that person's attraction wherever it's meant to be. Is the Bible the word? Who's to say? But what I can say is it's the love people put into that book that takes them where they're meant to be. So as far as I'm concerned, I love when people tell me what they're totally into. What I just don't do is get lured into making it about me, and I focus on what is right for them.
Then the power of this, I think, people sense at some level, but what's really unfolding in the body when that kind of a choice is made mentally is that the opportunity for you to move out of coherence is disrupted. So if you don't respond to what others believe and you don't need to be in the frequency that they're in, you stay in your own coherence, you stay in your own relationship to self. And in that way, you actually create a stronger resonant field, because there is a truth to when you are in coherence, you are at a stronger frequency than any of those, called dark forces or, whatever word you want to label. These individuals are playing out an idea that eventually they'll get bored of. And the more they feel what's happening in others that are at a different frequency, the more they'll wonder why that was so easy for them. And their desire and curiosity will start leaning them into it, whether they realize it or not. This is part of the inherent transmutation process that happens on this planet.
Right.
And so as we keep doing that, we become a force for the light, that we are not forcing ourselves upon others. We're just creating a force that begins to draw people unto us. And, we don't want to do it for that reason, but we do it. And that's the side effect, is that result will inevitably occur. We're doing it for our own well-being.
Well,
right?
Yeah. And someone just said people just want to be seen and heard, which I love that sentiment.
Yeah.
But I think part of it also is we as spiritual beings tend to go, if I'm going to listen to someone's diatribe, I'm going to do it from a passive standpoint. And what gets people triggered and agitated is we're not being as dynamically active or interactive in the conversation. So I listen to people, but then I offer. So it's like, not like someone goes, oh, come on, this person's the second coming of whatever. And I just listen and then go, so anyway, I ask follow-up questions. I take it deep because deep is deep. Mm-hmm. Oh, so what is the most meaningful thing you get out of this revelation? How has it changed your life for the better? What have you noticed is better about your life now that you've accepted her as your Messiah? So I ask, not only do I listen, but I think it's important to ask follow-up questions, because if someone is asking me to be interested, I'm going to be so interested that they may question why they asked me to be interested, because I want to connect deeply. So if that's the subject we're going to talk about, it's not going to take away from the depth. And I'll give you a funny example. There's a place in town where we live that has desserts that local bakers make. And I'm not going to say it's delicious. I'm going to say it might be a problem. That's how good it is. It's a problem. And we go there all the time. And so they know us. And there was this young 17-year-old that works there, graduating high school, adorable. And we go there and she's like, dressed in her strangely in her dark attire out of, all of a sudden. And she was asking us because she knew we were leading a retreat. And she goes, oh, what kind of retreat? I said, oh, we're spiritual teachers. She goes, oh, well, I'm into some things that you're probably not going to agree with. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, she's a Satanist, yawn. Because that's what a light being thinks of Satanism is, yawn. I go, oh, what are you into? Oh, it's kind of out there. Well, I'm about to fall asleep, so please quickly tell me what you're into. And she's like, I am dabbling in Satanism. Are you? Satanism. And we just ask questions of interest. Well, how are you enjoying your Satanism so far? That's what I said to her as I buy my cheesecake. How are you enjoying your Satanism so far? Is it everything you would hope it to be? And she starts talking about this. And we both walked out just, offering her love and kindness. And she's a beautiful young soul. And we both looked at each other and we say, what do you think? We give it 1 week or 2 weeks?
Mhm.
And within literally like 10 days,
Yeah.
because a lot of that type of behavior, and we can talk of it from the superficial people that dabble in that stuff, the people that go into the dark magic to try to get what they want, or the people that are so disillusioned from religion that they make religion and source the same thing. Because Satanism tends to be just like atheism at a Metallica concert.
Mm.
And there are levels to it, and there are levels of really disturbing things, and people are getting hurt. And there's, I'm not making light of that. But if that's the journey the divine puts people on, if they must go through the depths of darkness to be able to tolerate and be attracted to the light, that's a journey some people need to take. And so it's our job to be the compassionate way showers that don't shame them for their decisions, but simply listen and ask questions of interest to say you are valid and you are worthy at every stage of growth, and where they're meant to go and how they're meant to evolve is their journey. And our interest is simply of being the most loving, compassionate service for every person's growth. They don't have to have a conversation about the light that we're into, and we don't need them to resonate with the light, even though they are the light and haven't realized it. But we will be of service to every person's soul in whatever way is compassionate and fits into the livelihood of the journey that they're exploring.
Yeah, because we don't have to be interested in what they're talking about. We only need to be interested in them.
That's right.
Interested in and caring for the soul that's in this body and the being that's on this journey. And it's so beautiful because this young woman really represents how that transmutation process works.
Yeah.
It was like 10 days. And we came back into the store. We'd been back sooner than 10 days, but it was 10 days for her transition. And she approached us and said, "Hey, I'm quitting this job. Do you have any openings?"
Oh.
So not only was she out of that phase, she had moved so far over that she wanted to be near us more.
That's right.
In that experience. And I just thought that's such a beautiful reflection of exactly what's happening in the world when it looks so gloomy and there's this intensity of real people doing really horrific things. Their time is nearing an end, just most of them don't know it.
And what's interesting, if we understand how the polarity of energy works, and it's interesting to mention this because you're going to watch this happen on so many different levels.
Yeah.
The people that are so against anything, because the rule of thumb for the light is be what you're for, not what you're against. Right? And there are people that are spiritual egos that will try to project onto that and go, oh, you're bypassing, as if you need to dumpster dive in the depths of depravity 24 hours a day to prove you're not avoiding anything. And you're proving it to people that are never going to be your friends anyway. But the truth is be what you're for, not what you're against. Doesn't mean you ignore anything, but you be what you're for, not what you're against. Be about the positive movement of what can I add to the world versus what I'm going to try to take down in the world. And what's interesting is what we understand psychologically, and I see this happening all the time, is that any time you are what you're for is more rooted in what you're against. Like being of the darkness means you're against the light. Anytime you are against something, you are creating a subconscious attraction to it. So for example, let's say there's a bunch of people in the world that go, we're light beings, right? Spiritual egos. We're going to go down to hell and we're going to destroy the darkness so that humanity can be free. And they all go down to fight the darkness, and darkness as a spokesperson, they're so calm. Oh, hello. Hello, we didn't expect you all to come. You're all very bright, shining, and radiant. And they think, this is the darkness? This is unexpected. Wow, you all have a lot of weapons. You're all very strong. Would you like a tour? You don't have to barge in here. Would you like a tour? It's hot down here. Do y'all want some water? We can get you some waters. And all of a sudden, they're thrown off guard because darkness grooms. And all of a sudden, the people who are against something, and the darkness says, no, this is all a big misunderstanding. Let us show you. And the people who are against the darkness are the easiest people to coerce into the darkness. The people that are against whether it's Donald Trump or whatever they're against are the easiest people to flip into the opposite. So today's Republicans, tomorrow's Democrats, and the beat goes on and on and on. People who are so of the light but are against the darkness are going to be the easiest people to be manipulated into the darkness. And so we are rooted in what we're for, not what we're against. And that's how you wake up out of this very complicated mind maze.
It's part of why you see it happening so easily, even, you know, with like January 6th and
Oh,
the
yeah.
things that it was like they were just lured right in. Come on in. The doors were opened.
Come on into
This is when you start to see, just watch it all play out, and it's all manipulation of each other's perceptions.
And then the people that are against the darkness, who get the tour, get everything. Oh no, you just don't understand. They are going to be the biggest pawns for the darkness and those manipulated. Just like I'm going into this cult meeting that my friend sucked into, and I'm going to give them all a piece of my mind. And then they walk out as a member of the cult. Because what you're against is preparing you to embrace what you're now for, because that's how the polarity works. So in the law of attraction, you want to be able to be aware of, what am I naturally attracted to? Is it in my highest interest? And how can I start building through my healing journey, through heart coherence? How can I start developing a greater attraction to the source of my divinity and what is in my highest interest and what I want to help the world build an attraction towards? That reframing of the law of attraction can actually help us understand these times in a more simplified way. People thought the law of attraction was, obsess about objects and beg God for new toys until God says, geez, just give it to them already. We're tired of listening to this. Right? But that's not the law of attraction. The law of attraction is, am I attracted to things that support my highest evolution and well-being? And what can I do to start building an attraction to what's really good for me? Because that's the difference between children and adults. Children are attracted to what they're attracted to without regard for their safety and well-being. Adults are attracted to what they're attracted to with an awareness of safety and well-being. And what goes from child to adult to evolve spiritual being is learning how to develop an attraction to the things that are rooted in safety and well-being for the benefit of ourselves and the world that is evolving around us.
Yeah.
I think it reminds me so much of, I think it's a Nietzsche quote where it's like, take care when fighting monsters lest you become the monster. And I think a lot of people listening might realize there's like this place that hits where you're like, oh, shoot, how much of my life is based around what I am fighting against? Or, I had this profound realization, and I'm glad it's a good reminder to even think about it again, that a lot of my life it's like living to try to not create this thing in my childhood. I'm sure a lot of people relate to that. So for all the people that hit, it's like, what would be the steps to make a life around what you're for and not against? Because some of them are kind of subtle, and then some of them might be more clear and bigger steps to take.
100%. And I think when we remember that the people that hurt other people are people who have been hurt, they were so against their perpetrators who hurt them that they went in the direction of perpetration. And the awakening of consciousness is interrupting that pattern and that cycle. And so it's very important, and it's a great aspiration when we say, oh, I'm going to be the parent I never had, or I'm going to overcompensate and be unlike the parent that I loathe. But that's not the parent your children need. Your children need you to just be you as you are. And just as parents, the world needs us to be just as we are. And I think spiritually speaking, we're all coming off of this unintentional high horse of, I'm going to be unlike what sickens me about the world. I'm going to be unlike what I secretly judge about the world, or I'm going to be unlike those who have hurt me. The fact that we've survived atrocity guarantees we're going to be unlike that. All we have to do is just be more like ourselves. And when we're more like ourselves through the process of liking ourselves and loving ourselves, we build an attraction with who we are, just as we are. And once we start to build an attraction with who we are right now in real time, that's when the highest aspects start to move through you and speak through you and choose through you. And you don't have to berate yourself spiritually in order to grow and evolve. You just have to fall in love with who you are right now as the space the divine chose to move through. And then everything you will say and do naturally will be inspired and heaven sent instead of over rehearsed and inauthentic.
And I think at a really, simple, I mean, both Matt and I love simple,
Yeah.
right? Because it's the simple things that set us free. It isn't a complicated path to healing. Is the curiosity of, in this moment that I'm feeling this frustration or anger or hurt about a situation. I'm hurt about people being murdered in another country, or I'm upset about the things that happened to me in my childhood. In that moment, we can get curious about, what is it that I could be for that would help me bring more of that to the world. And oftentimes we're for retribution. We're for the, rescuing of other hearts who have been in that experience. And we could be for healing or well-being. We could be for being the love in the world. We could be for kindness and compassion to all humans. And as we start to direct ourselves through our curiosity, it naturally disrupts some of those patterns. And then it gives us time to reflect and develop heart coherence and breath and those things, that understanding of universal law that helps to bring us to deeper awareness. And so I think it's a combination of these two things. Very simply, can I get curious on a regular basis? What am I for? And what am I for if I feel this uncomfortable feeling in my body? Is there something that I could move myself in the direction of being for that mentally and emotionally in my body? And then as I'm growing every day, am I becoming more aware of how things are working? What am I learning? What am I understanding? What's the wisdom that I'm extracting from all of these experiences? And I think those two things really go hand in hand with just regular, consistent development, and to continue to move us towards living as these light beings that we were born to be.
Absolutely.
You guys have a course that I think would really probably help people and answer this in a very concrete manner. I'd love to hear you talk about what it is before we go.
Yeah. So we developed a course. It was something that brought both of our work together. So I had originally channeled a process that was based on the law of co-creation, and bringing those universal laws together with the beautiful, loving approaches that Matt has been teaching all of these years. We brought these two things together into one course that walks us through exactly what we're talking about here, walks us through the simple steps. It's a 10-part series, a 10-part course that walks us through the processes of really aligning continually with those higher elements within our own being.
Yeah, if we, when we brought our work together and I looked at this course that Joy had channeled, I was so beyond stunned by the precision of this course, how everything was put together in the specific order. And what we find, so many of us have taken so many courses, done so many processes and gone, yeah, I've done that, or I've done this and done that. And it didn't really amount to much of anything, which either makes us think all of this doesn't, is unreal, or I must be the worst student in existence. But the truth is that there's a kernel of truth in everything. And the most important factor that I think has yet to be really highlighted is that healing is about doing things in a series of steps, but in a certain precise order. And so when I saw the order at which Joy had put this course together, and then she invited, when we got together, to add in my elements, and then it was kind of like we saw, oh, I think this was what was always meant to be. And it's a course that helps you rewrite your subconscious mind, regulate your nervous system, come into greater heart coherence, and to really say, if I'm attracted to the light, may I take this process to come fully into my attraction of the light. because through the law of attraction, what we see is how life changes for ourselves and for others as we build on this attraction to the light in a greater way. And so this course we created called Mastering the Brain Game is, in my estimation, one of the most powerful courses I've ever been a part of. And it is, in a world that is finding its way and in a world that is so chaotic right now, this course rights the ship and makes a crazy world seem so clear, and helps you navigate through the terrain of this world where you can start trusting the authority of your own divinity and really move out of these endless cycles of healing so you can really start serving the world in a greater way. I mean, how many of us are ready to stop processing our family, to stop labeling the next person in our life as the next dastardly narcissist, to stop going, well, I guess that was another past life where I abused my power. Like, aren't we done with this? Like you can't even call it peeling an onion because there's a point where the onion is done. So we wanted to create a process that moves us out of perpetual healing cycles and to move us into our embodied power and to start creating the world we wish to live in on a personal and a community level. And so this course for us, I mean, I could say in all honesty, I've been doing this work for a long time. And before Joy and I met, I think we both were getting to this point where I was getting to the point where I love the work I do, but I was kind of like, what's the next level? Because I'm looking at the industry I work in. I love serving people. Yeah. That's what's kept me in this game for this long, is I love serving all of you. It's my greatest joy to serve you. It's the passion that gets me out of bed every morning. But there's so much about the industry that I work in, that we work in, that I was starting to not be so excited about. And it was Joy and I coming together in the reimagining of this course and what we are doing that reignited my passion for what I do and brought me to a place of, we're going to do the greatest work of our lives, and we are here to help create transformation that is tangible, trackable, and predictable, so we can all experience the possibility of what this lifetime is, instead of being light beings who walk around with this endless peanut allergy or gluten intolerance. Like, let's stop being light beings who are sensitive to everything, and let's be light beings who are powerful, who are compassionate, and who are here to lead the world, whether on a small level or a global level. This is our time.
Wow. Well, this has been such a mind-blowing, beyond anything I could have ever anticipated conversation. And I think so many people are going to love this. It's the perfect timing. I feel like it's an election cleansing, purification. Like, yeah. So, I am looking forward to that course. Everything you said today resonated as so true. And it also seemed really unique, like, perspectives I haven't really heard, but it resonated so true. And I know your course is packed with stuff like that that's going to make you embody that way of being. So thank you so much. Is there anything you want to, just say in closing to our group here?
Honestly, I'm just really feeling all of the love.
Yeah.
Thank you for creating this incredible space that you two cultivated. I feel really honored to be here and to be able to do this work. This means, when we feel that go time in the world, everybody's feeling that, like, we know something's next. And for us to be able to show up and to be able to serve in the what's next, it makes me emotional. It makes me want to cry, because I know we're moving towards the most profound part of our human history to date. And I'm so grateful to be here with all of you.
And thank you both for having us on, as always. Thank you all for being on this call with us. And if you are a Trump supporter, a Trump opposer, if you are for the light, if you are for the dark, you will be loved, and not in a righteous, passive aggressive way, but in a genuine way. And it is my honor to do this work with you, to join together with you, Kyle and Leah, and everyone on this call and everyone watching. We are all here to be loved. And as we all begin discovering our attraction to the light that only loves and transforms life only through love, there will be no one left to be hurt or to do the hurting. And that's how love wins. And so what I want to end with is every agenda has its opportunity to fire as many shots, to enact as many of plans as possible. Love endures it all. It collapses the energy of that which wears itself out by attacking. And love embraces everything and transforms everything by the power of love. So this isn't a love that's going to stop what's happening. This is a love that's collapsing what's happening by enduring every shot, living through every agenda, and being the love that transforms all. Love wins.
Yeah.
And love has already won. And that's why we're here. And we love you all so much.
Let's go.
Love wins.
Love
Let's
wins.
spread it. That's the actual news.
Yes.
That's
That's
the big
breaking
news.
news. Love wins.
Breaking news.
Back to you in the studio.
Right?
Love wins.
Yes.
All right. We love
We
you
love
guys
you
so much.
all.
Matt and Joy, thank you. Please come back.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well,
Thank you. This was great. Thank you everyone for
Okay.
being here. We love you.
We love you.
Love you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.